Hello, I'm Lawson Bracewell. I'm an esoteric astrologer and also a teacher of the Ageless Wisdom teachings. My primary interest is in exploring how consciousness slowly trains and inhabits the human personality, eventually bringing it into some resonance with or expression of the consciousness itself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dramatize the life of a Sagittarian. And I'm going to begin by dramatizing the ordinary Sagittarian life, where the person is pretty much enmeshed in what we would call normal life, following one's desires, fairly submerged in habits and in expectations, in the cultural conditioning. Then I'm going to make a gesture like this, and I'm going to indicate that I'm now shifting into a level of consciousness where there is an awareness of two realities occurring simultaneously. The personality life, but now a larger life, in which there are more choices, there's more awareness, and there's an increased desire to be of service to the rest. Then I'll make a final gesture, and what I'm indicating is that the individual has now shifted into an awareness of the whole. The soul is in complete control of the personality vehicle, and the individual is in some sense a world citizen. Oh! I think that I came out screaming into this life, you know, like I have wanted nothing in this life more than just seeing everything, climbing every mountain, plunging down every stream. I never wanted to grow up, and frankly, I'm not going to. Life's an adventure. So what have I done? Well, what haven't I done? So far, I've run a whitewater rafting company. Wow, that was a blast. Yeah, a couple of people drowned. But you know, my feeling is, that's adventure. This namby-pamby stuff of rules and regulations, what a bunch of bunkum. Yeah, I tell people, yeah, there are risks. You might fall out. You might drown. We'll do our best to ensure that you don't. But don't moan to me if you're dead at the end of this. You know the risks. I've told them to you. Well, I must say, last one of those didn't go down very well. So, I set up a business selling juicers. Now, why did I get into juicers? Well, I was at somebody's house and they showed me this incredible machine. You know, it made juice, it made smoothies, it made peanut butter. And I thought, I can sell that. I've been fantastic. You know, I've traveled in Australia, I've traveled in New Zealand, and my business has been booming. Well, at least it did until I suppose I just got bored. Well, it could also have been that I sort of got preoccupied with that woman in Sydney. Or was it the woman in Melbourne? I don't know, but you know, I've never been monogamous either. I've never understood people who were into that sort of thing. It goes along with my sort of idea that life's an adventure and you learn from it. All right, I'll tell you another one. I think another part of my life that I really enjoyed was just telling stories. I guess you'd call me an inspirational speaker, but I did okay. Well, I must admit, a lot of it was just BS. But I had them rolling. I had them believing. And, you know, I was basically saying to them, you can do it. And they'd say, well, you know, how do you do it? And I'd say, oh, don't get into all that head stuff. You know, don't try and, you know, figure it out with your rational brain. You know, this is about just jumping in. You know, it's like having the guts to try it. Now, I'll tell you something else. I've never married. You know, I think a human male was never meant for marriage. Goes along with my prevailing belief in freedom. You know, we're here on this earth for a very brief period of time, and it's a time to just say, I'm free to be me and explore whatever. Another thing I think, positive thinking. Positive thinking. It's all about positive thinking. If you can be positive all the time, it all works out one way or another. Now, I must admit, there are a trail of people behind me in this life who throw rocks at me because they feel I've let them down, because I've made promises they say that I didn't deliver. But you know, I feel people are responsible for themselves. I'm not here to sort of hold people's hands through their life. I'm here to, at times, give them a good, swift kick in the butt because they are whingers and moaners and hoping that somehow other people are going to provide them with a welfare state, which I think, frankly, is nonsense. Everyone should be able to just make it work for them, as far as I can see. Well, I guess, you know, it was a simple matter of having one of those near-death experiences, you know. Got tipped out of one of my own boats. You know, I wasn't in that business anymore, but I was rafting, and it all turned to custard, and, you know, they said that I was actually clinically dead. The experience that I had was so profound, you know. It's like, I've heard about, you know, people saying this flaky sort of stuff about near-death experiences, but, you know, I knew immediately that it was real. The experience that I had was real. It was, I knew that I was a light being and that I was moving towards the light. I knew that I had a choice, and that I always had a choice in this life. So, yes, in a way, I haven't made a big shift. You know, like, at this point in time, I have a radio and a TV program that I'm doing. And it's to explore all of the real experiences that people have that are spiritual. Everything from the near-death experiences to those moments where people just suddenly have epiphanies, or the people who go through some kind of tremendous trauma, and, you know, it's like their heart breaks, and they know that love is the answer, that love is what truly heals, and love is, of course, what resolves all of the pain and suffering and discomfort of being human. I want to say to people through these shows that we're spiritual beings and we create our own salvation. We do it by the experiences that we have and the crises that we have. Another thing I think that's happening in my life is that I'm aware that freedom is something which you earn. Freedom is something which you gain. I used to think that freedom was something that was free for everyone. But now I know that freedom comes through becoming real. I've got to not talk about all this enthusiastic motivational stuff, but I've got to be a motivating person because I'm living it. I'm in my body, and I'm a living example of someone who has contacted the light and is now living in the light. what I feel is a great sense of responsibility for the other people around me. I know that because of my experience, I can be a bridge for them to have an experience, or at least come closer to it through being around me and the energy that I still carry from that experience. Those major experiences are meant really just to motivate you to get serious about a particular path in life. Certainly it had that effect on me. The commitment to staying with a certain teaching, certain books, certain practices that I knew would give me minor Big Bang experiences. I think that at this point in my life, nothing is more important to me than making that great breakthrough. You know, we stand at this point in time at a point where humanity as a whole is realizing that we're one humanity. We are one Earth. I'm in charge of a world organization called One Earth, One Humanity. The whole program is about simplifying religion, philosophy, beliefs, so that there are no barriers to our realizing we're from the same tribe, we're human. We have the same access to resources. The planet is our mother. We have the same access to fire. We simply have to have the courage to stick our finger in the socket and invoke the downpouring of spiritual will. That's my vision. That's what will change humanity. The willingness to act with spiritual presence.